This one's more Chinese specific. In China, the one-child policy lasted two entire generations from
Mhm.
1979 to 2015. This means that a lot of Chinese kids would grow up without brothers, sisters, or cousins. Have any of you guys noticed any side effects of this? So, for example, there are claims that male babies were preferred for family, which then caused an imbalance of the younger male and female populations, which then caused a lot of young Chinese men to be lonely virgins. I don't know how true this is because there are lots of disputes over this, but feel free to add anything.
Yeah, I was a single child growing up. I think ultimately my parents wanted another kid, but they were already too old, so they went back to China and adopted my sister. So I have a sister who's adopted, right? I think, yeah, just being the only child growing up, just a lot of pressure ultimately, right? When you're the oldest son in the family, there's a lot of pressure to excel, and you're scrutinized a lot, right? And I think this would apply to not just Chinese people. I think anybody growing up as an only child, you just have less interactions with siblings. You learn less, you don't know how to deal with sharing and things like that. So those are things I had to overcome after college. I had to go through a lot of soul searching and things like that. But I think if I were to have kids, I probably wouldn't have just one kid. I think there's benefits to having multiple siblings for sure.
All I can speak of from that perspective is from as a coach, because I have like a lot of Chinese students. There's something called like little emperor syndrome. I think that's what it's called, where a lot of these guys that come from China, they're not used to sort of like living on their own because their parents kind of take care of everything. And sort of like what Mike was saying, they're sort of like sheltered. So they come over here and they're not used to sort of the more, I guess, cosmopolitan ways of socializing with women or taking care of themselves. Like I've had students, their mom washed all their dishes, their laundry, cooked all their food well into adulthood. Come out here and it's like, okay, these are the things that an adult man needs to be able to take care of themselves. These are kind of the life skills that you should have. And this is kind of like a hallmark of sometimes why it's sort of hard for someone coming from the Asian motherland moving over to America and trying to learn how to date as an American, this skill discrepancy when it comes to life skills.
Yeah, any students where they live with their parents, I just know it's going to be 50% more work.
Oh,
So
yeah.
difficult tax. Also, I think Asian parents, it's not really necessarily the single child, but I think a lot of Asian parents it's I think it's a good thing. They care a lot about their kids and they want them to succeed, but instead of teaching their kids to make decisions on their own, they kind of just tell you what's right. Like, don't do this, do that. Here's the right way. That's the wrong way. So I think a lot of Asian kids grow up to be poor decision makers, or they have decision paralysis. As I think, and that's really the key when it comes to dating, pickup, logistics, problem solving. There's more than one way to skin the cat. So, and a lot of times you have to make quick decisions on the fly, right? You're at a club, you're talking to a girl, there's five different variables. You got to be able to call the shots really quickly and figure out what you want to do. So I think a lot of Asian kids that they're told the right answers since adolescence, they just never get to hone in on these key skill sets.
Yeah, totally. I'm gonna jump on this point because I'm Chinese. So a lot of fucking pressure, like Mike was saying, because you're the only child now. I'm the only child too. So the thing is, my parents came from a family of four kids, both sides. Like they have four kids on each side, and usually one kid in each family is like not the brightest one, and there's one that's like not so good, like kind of the black sheep of the family. But with the one child policy, every person has to be now like the elite, the brightest person, and it puts a lot of pressure on us for sure. And one thing that no one else mentioned is that there's a shit ton of men in China now, single men. The reason for that is because the one child policy in China, men are favored. Same thing as India, all the South Asian countries as well. Men are favored over women. So when they do the ultrasound, they're like, oh shit, it's a girl. Let's get rid of it. So now there's a shit ton of men, and these men now have to go to Russia or Vietnam to find wives.
Mhm. Alrighty. Any other comments on this? Very,
Yeah, I
very
think
interesting stuff, by the way.
yeah, I think that the thing is like yeah, I think that China have this, but they have changed this one-child policy now different, and definitely they have this more male population than female population, and that is also, cause like issues. But interesting thing what I see in this, like hard in getting laid for China, Asians and Indians also, how the West has portrayed their culture in the past. I think that China has done a good job in showing improving their stereotype. I mean, you guys know better, but they have definitely done a bit better job than Indian stereotype Indians are doing. So they are slightly have improved their stereotype. So if overall the stereotype of Asian people will improve, it may take like decades or maybe take like more than that time, then it will be also easier for them to get laid.
Well, the thing is, it's not all about getting laid. You know, getting laid is easy, it's cheap. It's, you know, it's just
Yes.
a few $100s for someone really, really nice. But the thing is, a lot of guys that I talk to, they're paying for hookers and these things like that. They feel so empty afterwards. I'm like, hey, you should save your money. He's like, yeah, now I feel like shit, worse. It's not about getting laid, it's about getting that affection and really
Yeah,
finding
yeah.
that in
Sorry,
yourself and other people. Like
yeah.
it's like every topic you talk to someone, not you, Deepak. I'm not trying to attack you, but every topic we talk about is always goes down to, oh, let's get laid, one night stand. It's not about that, right? As men, we gotta move forward, and it's not about the number of women you can have sex with. We can do that. There's no point in that. It's about
No,
building your
you're
legacy.
right. You're right. I have to correct it. I have to correct it. It is about getting laid by the person who desires you for who you are. So I forget it. So it
Yep.
is not about like what I teach is also because when the guys come in game, it is not about getting laid. So you are right in that way that you can go to hooker or something or whatever, but it is about getting laid. It is not even about like sex. It is about the getting that intimacy from the person who likes you for who you are, not about you. It is not about your money or something like that. That is the main problem, like the whole like dating community like is facing, that finding that person who likes you for who you are. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
just
sir.
to piggyback on agreeing with Ison there, I would say like 70% of the guys that come to me, none of them want to be pickup artists, right? None of them want like amazing amounts of lays. They just want like their choice of a girlfriend. And yeah, there are some outlier guys that like, oh, like 100, sure. But the majority of guys, especially Asian guys, because, culturally, a lot of them are driven to be in a relationship, maybe, play the field, have a little bit of fun, but eventually get into a relationship, get married, and then, have a family. I would say like, a good percentage of Asian guys, Asian and Asian American, want that path and aren't drawn into the so-called pickup artistry.
What's your definition of pickup? I feel like it's just like marketing term now. It's like it doesn't matter what you call it, it's the same thing. It's talking to people, it's going to the gym, it's having a good Instagram, it's having good social skills. I mean, we call it dating coach, pickup artist, it's all the same, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
it's
I
it's
agree.
it's
I
like
agree.
whatever
No,
the
I
term
wouldn't
is
say
in
it's the same.
mainstream
So
nowadays, right?
one thing that I see
Yeah,
like
at the
with
end of
pickup
the guy,
artists,
you
a
got
lot of
I
strategies,
think
a lot of sorry, but
I think
I'm
at the
saying
end
that
of the
there's
day,
a lot of
you just gotta follow the guy and figure out like what their value systems are. But like
right. You got to find someone that you can actually see yourself in, and your values align. But with pickup, I feel like there's more strategies and tricks and techniques, whereas with improving yourself in the mindset, it's more so about inner self, and then you can do whatever. You don't have to worry about no lines. You don't have to worry about no whatever strategies, techniques. It's like I don't even teach lines. You don't have to memorize anything.
uh, I will not agree to that point, because if you see that like good inner game and everything is important, but that at the same time the outer game, the line technique is also important. So if you see like geopolitics, USA is strong, like we say, like, strong in a game, so they can go all in. Like, for example, in Iraq, they go direct game, direct hardcore. But when they defeated USSR, so it is not about just be powerful. So they use the tactics and technique. So this is how I see the world. So when you want to like, get success efficiently, then you need to have the inner game. Inner game is required, but at the same time, you have to have a good outer game technique so that you able to solve the problem what you're facing efficiently. So if the girl is like 8 or 9 or going on the street, and like I tell the guy, like, you have the best in game, just go and, like, hey, you're beautiful, I want to talk to you. She will just reject the guy, and then then somebody will say, like, some coach will say, oh, like, let's try another girl. So but now the question is, like, how we can win, how we can get this problem solved. So I think that here we need to work, we have to be like, inner game is also important, but the good outer game, what are the technical things what we are doing, that is also important. This is how I see.
It's a balance of inner, outer.
Hmm.
Like, you could have, like, I get like a lot of foreign Asian students, and again, they're coming from the motherland of Asia, so they've never once ever experienced what it is to have racism, and they go up to a girl and they've in their Bobby accent, right? And I've seen this, like, the white girl would just completely blow him out. He could be completely confident, but that perception, that stereotype, no amount of inner game is going to solve that. But it is important. Like, again, we've harked from the very beginning of limiting beliefs. Definitely everyone has to, like, be able to manage that and deconstruct that in their mind. But it does have to have that external feedback, right, of real world technique to match what we believe internally in ourselves.
Yeah, and also, like, if you are like, you have you start the game with a strong inner game. The problem is that in this, if there is no proper technical outer game, then what will happen when you start to get the reference experience, which is always like a negative, negative, negative. Okay, one rejection, two rejection, 1 month of rejection, 2 months of 5 months of 1 year of rejection, then it is very hard to keep that strong inner game permanently. So that inner game will convert it into a negative kind of inner game. Makes sense? Because you need to have a positive reference experience to back up that claim. If USA is saying I'm the best, but they are losing all the war, so what is this inner game? So you have to also backup plan. You have to have the backup to win the game.
Alrighty, let's move on. Just want to highlight what Mike said. He said there's more than one way to skin a cat. I'm very curious now. Moving on.